So if you were to go to one of your product listings and look at your photos, would you see a variety of different angled shots and perspectives, maybe even lifestyle shots? Or would you see only one or two photos? Or see multiple photos, but of the same angle over and over and over again? If it is the latter, then I am here to help you out because this is a really big problem I see in the maker community when it comes to selling online. And variety is, as they say, the spice of life. And that also includes shopping online. So we're going to talk all about this, how to create more variety, how to get inspired when it comes to what shots to take of your products so that you can sell your products more easily online. So if that is something you're interested, stay tuned. So one of the major drawbacks of selling online is that you don't get that sensory tactile experience that you would if you were shopping for a product in person. So for example, if I was shopping in person and I saw this hat, I'd be able to pick it up, I'd be able to feel it, I'd be able to inspect the quality of the work to see how well it's been sewn and stitched together. I'm able to really just feel, is this feel like a really solid hat? Does it feel sturdy, or does it feel like it's gonna fall apart in a year? I'm also able to look on the inside and see more stitching, to look at the label and see the brand. I'm able to try it on, doesn't fit, whatever. This isn't my hat. And just be able to experience the hat in a different way than if I was looking at just one perspective of this hat and trying to decide whether or not to buy. So I really want you to think about how you photograph your products from the perspective of your customer, what their experience would be in person, and how you can really translate that to your product photos when you're selling online. So let's get into a couple of ideas and chat more. So one of the most common product photos you will see out there, and you've probably seen the most, is a product photo that is a front angled shot. It is generally shot at eye level. It's very clear and direct. I mean, it's just plain and simple, which is what makes it so great. This is also the kind of shot that makes for a really great first image of your listings. So if you are scrolling search results on Etsy, this can be the type of image that can really stand out, since other people might be choosing other angled shots. But to me, this is a really great practical image to use in your product listings. Next, we'll look at a side angled shot or a profile shot. This is really great if your product has some like dimensions, some shape to it, and you're able to highlight some areas of your product that maybe you aren't able to see with the standard front angled shot. As you can see, more detail of the of like the banding or the ribbon around the hat. You can see the brim angled up in the back. You can see the kind of button detail. So this is a really great shot to include in your listings. One of the most common angles that a lot of people forget to photograph is the back of their product. Now, this particular product has a lot of detail, a lot of interesting stuff going on, so it's definitely probably a shot that most people might think to photograph. But even if your product doesn't have a lot of interesting stuff going on in the back, it's still really good to photograph, because again, we have to think about customers, how they shop in person. They're on some level going to see the back of the product. So why not photograph it and show them what's going on? The next shot is a 45-degree angle, and this kind of gives a bit of a more interesting perspective of a product. So for this particular product, the candle, we're able to see the actual candle and the wick, and also see the top of the candle, which has the brand and website. So it makes it a little more visually interesting than maybe if it was just a straight on front angle shot or side profile. So make sure you experiment and try, moving your product in a way that makes a little more visual interest if you're shooting at a 45-degree angle. Next is a bird's eye view or a top-down shot. This is actually the top of a bar of soap that had a lot of really interesting detail, but you couldn't see very well from a standard front angled shot or even a side angled shot. So taking a top down shot of the bar of soap is able to highlight a lot of the textures, a lot of the dried flower detail that could be a really good selling point. So think about how you could creatively photograph some of the details maybe on the top of your product that could be a really good thing for your customers to see and appreciate about your work. Another angle that a lot of people tend to forget is the bottom of their product. So for this particular candle, it has the brand's website, it has details about how not to burn yourself and burning instructions so that you can, best care and use the product. So obviously this is really helpful because maybe somebody doesn't know how to properly burn their candle to make it last. But even if your product doesn't have a whole lot of stuff going on the bottom, it's still helpful to photograph the different perspectives, including the bottom, for your customer to kind of feel like they know everything and they're able to see every aspect of your product. Next, it's really important to get some up close detailed shots of your product because customers want to see how well your product is made. They want to see particular things that are unique and special about your work. So make sure that you get some really up close, detailed shots that really communicate what makes your product really cool and really amazing. And lastly, let's show scale. Customers want to know how big or small a product is. So being able to show scale is really, really important when selling online. If this product was just photographed by itself, it would be really hard for a lot of people to understand how big this jar is because there's nothing to compare it to. So even just holding the jar helps give scale so that customers can understand, oh, this is actually a pretty small jar and not a large jar. So make sure you include something showing scale so that customers feel really good and don't get surprised when they buy from you when your product arrives. But before I wrap up this video, I want to make sure I give you some other resources when it comes to how to photograph your products. First off, I created a video where I talk about how to kind of think like a customer, how to create product photos that answer questions from your customers, because when you're able to nail that, your customers are going to be more likely to want to buy from you. So make sure you check out that video. I'll be sure to link that below in the description and make sure you watch it. Another thing is that there is so much inspiration out there for ideas on how to photograph your products. So if you're saying, some of these angled shots are not going to work for me, or I need more of a visual about how that's going to look for my specific product, or you just want ideas in general, I got you. So first off, I encourage you to look at others in your niche. What are other sellers and other makers or even other brands doing when it comes to photographing products that are similar to yours? So this is a really great way to get ideas for backgrounds, lighting, props, what angles they're photographing their products at, and so on. It is so helpful because you don't have to just make up shots as you go. That's a lot of work. Instead, get inspiration and get ideas before you pick up the camera and start taking pictures. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with all the same angled shots like I was talking about before, and that is not going to be great for your sales and your customers. So look for inspiration from others in your niche when it comes to product photography. You can also just look at other brands that aren't in your niche, but just get ideas on how they photograph their products. That is really great, especially if you're looking for like lifestyle shots, which I didn't really talk about in this video because it's a little bit more complex, but I wanted to give you more kind of basic shots that can help you get started. But, create a folder, take some screenshots, dump all the inspiration, and use that as a basis to help you start photographing your products. So try that tip out. So I hope this video was really helpful and is a starting point for you to get inspired and get ideas on how you can better photograph your products so that you can sell your work online. Your product photos are super important to selling online, so make sure to create a variety of different images that really highlight your work and that will get your customers' attention. So make sure you try these tips out. Let me know how it goes, and be sure to check out the links in the description for more resources on how to photograph your crafts and sell online. See you in the next video. Bye.